What if we told you Love Island may have hidden its strongest couple? On purpose. When fans finally saw the leaked week 1 photos of Olandria and Nick, they weren't just confused, they were outraged. Because while the cameras were focused on drama and messy connections, something real was happening in the background. And we were never supposed to see it. Nick was falling, fast. Olandria, completely unaware. And when the secret finally came out, it wasn't through the show. It was through him, gushing in interviews, slipping up in lives, and liking every post she dropped like clockwork. So why did the producers keep it all under wraps? Why did the most genuine connection of the whole season end up being hidden behind the scenes? And now that fans have seen the receipts, could a reunion be on the horizon? Keep watching, because what we're about to show you might completely change the way you saw this season. Before the hidden love story hit the internet, Olandria Carr then was already turning heads for another reason. And this one had nothing to do with the villa. On January 6th, at an exclusive invite-only event at the Beverly Hilton in Beverly Hills, she walked into the room and stole the spotlight without saying a word. The photos. Instant viral moment. The dress. Custom, bold, and absolute perfection. Fitted like it was made for royalty. She wasn't just giving reality TV star. She was giving goddess. Period. Social media exploded. Fans started calling her the Bama Barbie, a reflection of both her southern charm and her undeniable beauty. Comments flooded in. She's glowing. She looks rich. Someone cast her in a movie now. Even Essence picked up the story, and when Essence talks fashion, you know it's real. But what really got people talking wasn't just the outfit. It was the energy. Confident. Calm. Mysterious. Because behind that stunning look and those elegant photo ops was a girl who had been keeping something to herself. Or maybe, something was being kept from her. And while everyone online was caught up in the glamour, a much deeper story was starting to unfold right beneath the surface. A story that involved secret kisses, edited out footage, and one connection that fans say was stronger than anyone realized. Just as the buzz from Olandria's red carpet moment started to settle, the internet did what it does best. It found the receipts. Seemingly out of nowhere, unreleased photos from week 1 of Love Island started circulating. We're talking cozy, candid, affectionate moments between Olandria and Nick. Shoulder touches. Flirty smiles. Hands on knees. And in one photo, Nick kissing her on the cheek. Wait. Week 1. Fans were instantly thrown. These two had barely been shown together on screen at that point, and yet here they were looking like they'd just walked off of a rom-com set. How did no one see this coming? More importantly, why didn't the producers show us this? The platform that aired the show, Peacock, came under fire immediately. Fans flooded comment sections, Reddit threads, and reaction channels with one loud, unified question. Why did they gatekeep this energy? Some creators even posted dramatic reenactments of how they felt watching the leaked footage, saying it felt like being lied to. One video perfectly captured the shock. He was touching her leg, kissing her cheek, vibing on day 1, and we never saw a second of it. It wasn't just a vibe. It was chemistry, and it had been there from the beginning. But instead of airing it, producers chose to spotlight louder drama. Feuds, flings, and forced triangles. And that's when the whisper turned into a roar. What else are they hiding from us? Because clearly, Nick and Alandria weren't just some casual background pairing. They were something real. Possibly the most real thing that season had to offer. And by the looks of it, the world wasn't supposed to find out until now. At this point, fans weren't just confused, they were emotionally invested. The more they looked back, the clearer it became. Nick had been into Olandria from the very beginning. Like, locked in. It wasn't just the leaked photos anymore. People started digging. Old clips. Off-camera interviews. Social updates. Suddenly, a pattern emerged. Every time Nick mentioned Olandria, whether it was in a recap or a sit-down interview, his whole energy shifted. His tone. Softer. His smile. Immediate. His words. Careful but glowing. One fan said it best: "He doesn't talk about her. He worships her." It wasn't loud or performative, it was subtle, grounded, real. On a show where everyone's trying to stand out, Nick never needed to stage a moment. The way he looked at her said enough. And all of this led to one obvious realization. He wasn't playing a game. He seriously liked her. But here's where it gets even wilder. While Nick had clearly been catching feelings, Olandria had no idea. Publicly, she was calm, sweet, a little guarded. In the villa, she kept things playful, supportive, almost like she was just being a good friend. Not once did she give off, "I'm into you too" energy. But now, knowing what we know, was that really true? Did she truly not see the signs? Or did she see them and choose to ignore them? Maybe it was the cameras. Maybe it was strategy. Or maybe, just maybe, she thought it was too good to be real and wasn't willing to risk it. Whatever the reason, fans couldn't help but ask the same heartbreaking question. Was this a love story that slipped through the cracks because no one said anything until it was too late? And then came the reveal that changed everything. So let's rewind, all the way back to day one in the Love Island villa. No games, no alliances, no drama yet, just introductions. What we didn't see at the time. A blindfolded challenge. In a moment barely shown on screen, the contestants were each blindfolded and prompted to interact. No one thought much of it. But Nick. Nick made a move. He leaned in and kissed Olandria. Soft, quick, and in his words, intentional. The wildest part? She didn't even know it was him. And here's what makes it even crazier: he never told her. In a podcast interview weeks later, with DC YoungFly of all people, Nick dropped the truth like it was nothing. He laughed, relaxed, and said, "Yeah, I kissed her. She was blindfolded. She didn't know. I never told her. I was crushing on her that whole time." The moment he said it, fans went into overdrive. He was holding on to a secret kiss from the very start of the show. She was walking around without a clue, and we were watching without context this entire time. Even more. That kiss may have shaped everything he felt from that point forward. It wasn't some throwaway challenge for him. It was a moment. A spark. A sign that maybe she was the one. Before either of them even realized it. And now that we know about the kiss, something else becomes clear too. All those little smiles. The quiet moments. That tension we couldn't quite explain. Now it all makes sense. Nick had been silently building a connection with a girl who had no idea where it started. And somehow, neither of them addressed it. Until fans started digging months after filming ended. It wasn't just a kiss. It was the beginning of something real. And also, possibly, the beginning of the biggest missed opportunity of the season. But if Olandria didn't catch that moment, what else might she have missed? Turns out, a lot. The internet definitely noticed. And they had questions. Once that blindfolded kiss bombshell hit the internet, fans lost it. The timeline wasn't adding up. Nick had feelings from day one. The kiss happened behind the scenes. The chemistry was obvious. And yet, Olandria had no idea. Cue the memes. Cue the TikToks. Cue the collective gasp from the Love Island fandom. One creator's reaction went viral within hours. She stared into the camera, hand over mouth, and said what everyone was thinking. Wait. These pictures are from week 1. Not week 3. Not at the finale. Week 1. It wasn't staged. It wasn't exaggerated. It was genuine disbelief. And then came the killer line. "Girl, how did you not know? You're sitting there like we're besties, while this man's over here floating in love." Clips of Nick kissing her cheek, his hand resting on her leg. Moments filled with energy most people would have to pay a dating coach for. And still, Olandria? Clueless. And look, the internet wasn't dragging her. If anything, they were rooting for her. But they were confused, because when you add up all the behind-the-scenes hints, it starts to feel like she was the only one who didn't see it. Some fans joked that she had on emotional blinders, not just a physical one. Others said producers created a storyline so filtered, even the cast didn't know what was true. Theory after theory popped up. She was focused on the game. She misread his energy as friendly, or maybe, just maybe, she wasn't ready to trust it yet. Because let's be honest, Olandria's not the type to fall for charming words alone. She gives intentional, mature, private, and above all, protective of her peace. So maybe she saw the signs, but she didn't believe them. Until long after we did. But now that the internet had the full picture, there was no denying it anymore. Nick was in it. Like, deep in it. And it wouldn't take long before he confirmed it himself, again. Because in the next interview, Nick told us how he really felt. And let's just say, it wasn't subtle. If fans weren't already sold on Nick's feelings toward Olandria, his interview with DC YoungFly sealed the deal. It started off casual, playful, easy banter. But it didn't take long before her name came up. And when it did, Nick folded like origami. The second DC mentioned Olandria, Nick's whole vibe softened. He laughed, leaned back, and dropped line after line that had fans hitting replay like crazy. I had a crush on her. The whole time. She didn't know I kissed her. I never told her. The stars were just aligning in Fiji. He even dropped a metaphor so chaotic, fans are still trying to decode it. You gotta go through trials and tribulations to get to the treat at the bottom of the cereal box. Translation. He went through it for Olandria. He might have had other flings, sure. But she was always the one. That interview made everything click. Nick didn't just like her. He was holding back. Playing it cool. But inside, he was cooked. You could see it in his face, too. He wasn't doing promo. He was reminiscing. Like someone who's still playing the what if game long after the cameras stopped rolling. And while he never came out and admitted regret, fans picked up on the subtext. Every smile, every paused sentence. He was reliving moments we didn't get to see. Private conversations. Off-camera energy. That kiss she still didn't know about at the time. And remember, this wasn't a recent clip during the reunion glow-up. This was months later. And he still looked smitten. Fans weren't just entertained anymore. They were emotionally invested. Everyone wanted to know where they stood now. Were they still talking? Seeing each other? Was there hope for a real reunion? But before we dive back into that love story, something else was heating up on the timeline. And this one wasn't so romantic. Right when fans were spiraling over Olandria and Nick's unspoken love story, the focus suddenly shifted. And this time, it was Ace who had the internet talking. But not for the reasons anyone expected. It started with a TikTok live. Ace was chilling, engaging with fans, when someone dropped the question that had been floating around for weeks. Are you and Shelly still together? Simple, right? A yes or no would have squashed all the rumors. Instead, Ace laughed, smirked, then hit them with the biggest non-answer of the year. You gon' mind your damn business, or? That's when the live got weird, quick. The viewer who asked the question mysteriously got kicked from the stream, and Ace tried to play it off like a mod removed them. But fans weren't buying it. The delivery, defensive. The energy, off. The vibe, not anything like the man we remembered from the villa. It didn't help that around the same time, people swore they'd seen him on other TikTok lives flirting, laughing, and possibly arranging blind dates. Now, to be fair, there's debate. Some say he was just hosting dating content, not participating in it. But others claim he was doing more than moderating. And one detail they pointed to? Shelly was nowhere in sight. This only fueled more questions. Were they just laying low? Or were they done? And only one of them was ready to admit it? Because here's the thing, while Ace was being cagey on live, Shelly had already said her piece. In a classy but firm statement posted earlier, she made it clear, We're keeping things private now. No drama. No explanation. Just boundaries. But now, fans were starting to play detective. And the way Ace answered that question felt like confirmation without actually being confirmation. Passive. Avoidant. Kinda salty, not gonna lie. And the timeline did what it always does. Speculate everything. Some said he was embarrassed. Others said he still cared but didn't want to admit it. But more than anything, one reaction stood out. If you're still with someone, saying yes is easy. If you're not, you say what Ace said. But while this was all unfolding online in real time, guess what? Shelly didn't say a word. She didn't react. She didn't throw shade. She didn't even like any cryptic posts. Instead, she popped out flawless, and fans noticed. Because while Ace was dodging questions, Shelly was outshining him in every way. While Ace was out here dodging questions and confusing everyone on lives, Shelly was quietly serving main character energy. Unbothered, glowing, and surrounded by love. She didn't need to say a word, because her vibe spoke for itself. The photos dropped like clockwork. She was spotted at a wedding, dressed in an elegant chocolate brown satin gown, looking effortlessly stunning. The makeup. Laid. The pose. Confident. The energy. I'm good without the drama. And people noticed immediately. The comments were full of things like, post-breakup glow is crazy. This is how you move when you know your worth. Ace is somewhere screaming into a pillow. Let's be real. Weddings are already emotionally charged. But to walk in serving elegance and peace of mind after a messy split? That's another level. What really hit fans, though, wasn't just the outfit. It was how happy she looked. Laughing with friends. Cheering on the bride. Just genuinely living in the moment. No fake smiles, no hints of sadness, just joy. And suddenly, people started seeing the full picture. While Ace was on lives throwing shade and acting defensive, Shelly had chosen silence, and it spoke volumes. Instead of clapping back, she leaned into healing, into softness, into self-respect. Fans began rallying behind her. The tone of conversation flipped from "Are they over?" to "Good for her." And the best part? She didn't need a public relationship status update to shift public opinion. Her piece did it for her. Effortlessly. Shelly had rewritten the breakup narrative without even saying his name. Because whether they were officially done or just on pause, one thing became obvious. Shelly knew her value. And she wasn't chasing anyone to see it. But while she was carving her own lane and taking back her timeline, people couldn't help but compare her journey to another couple on everyone's mind. Yep, Nick and Alandria were still in the picture. And Nick. He wasn't done talking about her just yet. In fact, his next move had fans doing a double take, and wondering if maybe, just maybe, this story wasn't over after all. Just when things started to die down and the timelines moved on, Nick popped back up, and he wasn't being subtle. It started on Snapchat. He was posting clips, giving casual life updates, and cracking jokes as usual. Nothing out of the ordinary, until viewers noticed something familiar. A magazine spread. A red dress. And that same girl on his mind. Olandria. In the clip, he flips through magazine pages like he's showing off a Super Bowl trophy, stops at her photo, and says, "This one might be my favorite." And then, looking at her poised, regal pose, he adds, "It's just very elegant. I kinda want a room in my house to look like that." Sir, be serious. It wasn't just appreciation, it was adoration. And it didn't stop there. He mentioned her again in a story about the wine challenge from the show, playfully throwing her name out with a grin that said he was doing more than reminiscing. Fans caught it instantly. Why is Nick still talking about Olandria like she just walked out of the room? He's actually obsessed, and I love that for him. She's not just living rent-free in his head, she's furnishing the place. It came across like someone who low-key wanted the world to know. He still sees her. He still values her. He still might be holding space. And let's be clear, Nick isn't chaotic. He's not messy. He doesn't post thirst traps subtweeting his ex. He's the type who processes quietly, stays respectful, and lets emotions simmer under the surface. So when he continues to bring her up, months later, it says a lot. And even more telling, there's no trace of bitterness. No passive aggression. Just softness, care, respect. That's where people really took a pause. Because in the world of reality TV hookups, shallow drama, and quick rebounds, you almost never see someone speak about their former love with the kind of warmth Nick gives Olandria every single time her name comes up. It felt real. Still. And honestly, it made fans ask the question out loud. Was this just a summer fling that got overlooked? Or a love story disrupted by editing? Either way, what happened next made viewers look at Love Island, and its producers, a little differently. Because once all these pieces were back on the table, the question became less about the couple, and a whole lot more about why the show tried so hard to keep them out of sight. By this point, the romance wasn't just a fan theory, it was a full-on revelation. The kiss, the chemistry, the interview slip-ups, the constant posts. Everything pointed to a real connection between Nick and Alandria that had been quietly brewing since day one. But that left everyone asking just one thing. Why didn't we see this on screen? Why did Love Island, a show literally built on love stories, bury what was arguably the most genuine one all season? Look, we know how reality TV works. Not everything makes the cut. Hours of footage get chopped, condensed, repackaged. The juiciest stuff gets prioritized. But this wasn't just a few missed moments. This was an entire relationship arc that got swept under the rug. Fans started reading between the lines. Was the show trying to shape its own narrative? Did producers think Nick and Alandria weren't TV enough? Too calm. Not messy. On a show where drama, tension, and chaos get you airtime, Nick and Alandria's chemistry was different. It was respectful, soft, real. And maybe that didn't fit the vibe they wanted to push. One Reddit thread put it perfectly. If they'd shown everything, the audience would have backed them hard, and maybe flipped the whole season. Because remember, the couple the show chose to give the most attention to didn't win. They didn't even make it out without controversy. Meanwhile, the Real spark stayed hidden, until the internet put it back together piece by piece. And maybe that was the plan all along. Some fans now believe producers downplayed Nick and Alandria's story because it was too stable. Too predictable. Not enough shock factor. Never mind the fact that it was what fans have been asking for. An authentic connection, built slowly, with mutual respect. But here's the thing. Peacock didn't expect the audience to care this much. To notice. To zoom in and say, wait, there's something bigger going on here. And now, they've lost control of the narrative. Because the fans saw through it. And even though it may have been left on the cutting room floor, the truth still made it out. By now, it's clear that what Nick and Alandria had wasn't just a fleeting TV moment. It was a connection that slipped through the cracks, unfiltered, unseen, but never unfelt. The blindfolded kiss. The missed signs. The gushing interviews and subtle social media love. A romance that never fully got to breathe. Because the cameras were too busy chasing chaos. It makes you wonder, what would have happened if the truth had come out earlier? If Olandria had known from week one what everyone else saw? If Nick had told her? If the producers hadn't buried the footage? Would they have ended up together? Won the show? Built something even bigger outside the villa? Or was this always going to be the story that almost happened, but didn't? And yet, despite everything, Nick is still out here talking about her like he's stuck in rewind. The compliments haven't stopped. His smile when saying her name is still the same. And fans can't help but ask, is he waiting for the right moment? Or has that moment already passed? Because sometimes, the most real love stories don't happen when everyone's watching. They happen in the quiet. When the cameras have packed up. When the noise dies down. When it's just two people. No pressure, no edits, no producers pulling strings. And maybe that's exactly what they needed all along. So, is there still a chance? That's the question fans keep asking. That's the question we're still asking. And until we get the answer, you better believe we'll be watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, and tell us what you think. Should Nick and Alandria give it one more shot? Are you Team Shelly? And what drama do you want us to break down next? Because if reality TV won't tell the truth, we will.